Good morning, David. I wanted to take a moment here and review the swing evaluation we had last week. I do apologize for not getting it to you sooner here. I was a little under the weather this week here and feeling a little bit better, so I'm trying to get back to everything that I'd missed. So let's go ahead and dive in then. So as we take a look at your swing, I know in talking with you, you discussed that this is in your first stages, first year, first positioning. You're relatively new to the game here. So what I want to do is kind of take an overall view to your golf swing and trying to kind of give you some overall looks to it, overall views to it, and that way we can kind of get you started here. So when we take a look at your stance here, with you being a taller individual, as I discussed there, I want to get you a little bit more into, or what I would recommend, a little bit more of an athletic stance. When we look at Rory here on the right-hand side compared to yourself, or even someone as like Bernard Longer, or even a taller individual like Greg Norman. What you can see here in this swing, or not necessarily in the swing, but in this stance, is going to be a difference between where you're at. And let me get this here just to show you how your knees are dramatically over, almost to the ball, almost to your toes, and then all the way up here. So we want to see a little bit more of a balanced stance, or a little bit more an athletic stance. So, when we look at this here on the left-hand side, we can see, looking down at it, compared to Greg here, here, to here, Greg's 6'6", maybe 6'2", in those regions. Compared to yourself, you're about 6'4". We want to see something that, balances that stance, or even that frame that you have, in order to allow you to swing back and through effectively time after time after time. So you can see a big difference, about a 14-degree difference just in the knees, even carrying it up to that of the hips and torso. So getting you just a little taller in the stance, get a little bit more of an athletic stance. In your case, you played baseball, back in the day. What we want to think about here is not necessarily bending over as much, waiting for a ball to be fielded, but vice versa, maybe into if you're waiting for a ball to come in, on a pitch. Even more so if you play basketball, thinking of more of a guarding stance. Not too much flexing the knees, because you can see here that your knees, in this case, are out past your toes. What we'd like to see initially is maybe more of those knees out over the balls of your feet than out over your toes. You see just a big difference there. So when we come up to your back here, maybe try to straighten the back a little bit, trying to get a little bit of that hunch out of it, to where, it's not so much of the hunch and bent over here, but, we'll look, you're a little bit younger, so compared to Norman there, we'll take a look at back at Rory here and see, a little less of the hunch there. So, I mean, as a comparison, that's what you want to see, maybe a little less of that and a little bit better positioning there. So, getting you back in there. Now, as we flip around to your head-on view, what we want to look at, and what we kind of talked about, was trying to get you in a position of, let me rewind it right to here. All right. So one, I'd also probably take a look at your, getting your grip here, getting your grip in a little bit more of a traditional position, whether it be a Varden overlap grip or even into an interlock. But trying to get you something to where right now, if I was to zoom in on your grip, what we'd see is the V of your left hand, in where the thumb and the forefinger meet, would be kind of pointing up here between your left shoulder and your right shoulder. Whereas we look at your right hand, it's pointing up here to your in between. We'd like to see those two matching up. When I look at this here, when we maybe look at, let's look at Dustin Johnson, see if we can take a look at Dustin here. You can see Dustin's right here. Bam. Let me see if we can focus in, just give you a little bit better look. It wasn't as clear as I'd like to see, but what we see here, his is more his chin, right here, a little bit closer together, where the hands will work a little bit more effectively together. And that's what we'd like to see in a swing, or in when gripping the club, just because your hands ideally are on the club. That's what's your connection to the club to be able to swing the club. So we want something where your hands can operate efficiently and have a little more support. Because in your golf swing, what happens here, when we take a look, you can see as you take the club back, right here, and here we go, almost like you're kind of pulling the club straight back here. We get up to the top, and when I say we get up to the top, you can almost see how the hands are kind of lifting the club up. In this case, the reason I say that is it's not like we have a lot of shoulder turn here. You know, it's the hands come up, they pick the club up all the way to this point. If we were at this point here at the top of your golf swing, you know, what I'd like to see is if the club was, you know, parallel to the ground at this point, we should see the shoulders being parallel. So let's take Dustin Johnson at the same point here. Okay? So Dustin's not even. Let's take his shoulders where they're perpendicular to the target. All right, so if this was one straight line down, and then we're drawing one straight line at the target, there they are, perpendicular to the target. So the bottom arrow is pointing to the target. This up and down arrow, the perpendicular line, would be his shoulders. Turning his shoulders to where they are facing the target, or in a sense perpendicular to the line. By that showing, you can really see, one, how straight back his left arm is, vice versa than the club. Look how his club is in this position and compare it to yours here. You know, see the difference there? Big difference between the two. It's not just Dustin Johnson. Let's pull out old Ricky Fowler. All right, let's turn Ricky Fowler's shoulders back to that point. You know, look at Ricky here. Ricky gets a lot of torque on his. You can even see at that point there. Look at the difference here compared to where you are. Night and day difference. So here's Jason Duffner. Same type of position. Jason gets it right there, not quite the perpendicular, but look where his hands stop. Okay, hold that position with that club, not allowing the hands to break down or to bow, to bend, to change their position to allow the club to do the work. So then as you come down off of that, a lot of arms, a lot of hands coming down through, kind of a slap with the hands through. You're finished now. One thing I think you do great on is your transfer your weight down through. You know, effectively just starting out, I think you got a great weight transfer. But I think one thing we do and one thing we look at is there's a lot of hands, a lot of arm motion. What I'd work on with you is trying to get that position where it's a little more simplified. Less moving parts equals a little more effective hits, a little more consistent hits. So if you have any questions, David, by all means, feel free to give me a call, 314-724-6539, or stop by the range sometimes. I'm going to start being there a little bit more effective compared with the weather as we get out all this rain. But I'm there Tuesday through Sunday generally for a lesson. If you'd like more information, please go to my website, michaelwyattgolf.com, or even shoot me an email at michaelwyattgolf@gmail.com. I look forward to talking to you, and we'll talk to you later, David. Thank you, sir.